Hello there, fellow Radiant Stars and fighting game fans alike. Russell Joestar here, bringing you a MUGEN tutorial. We're to download it and we're to find characters and stages and get some of that stuff set up. And before we begin, you may be wondering why I have the background as Jester Abusan, because look at that face. Look at that cute little face. So why are we doing this tutorial? Well, a lot of people on Telegram and whatnot, not Telegram, but on TikTok and YouTube Shorts and stuff have been asking me what this is. All right, so they're kind of just fluttering around, not really. Oh, no, never mind. I spoke too soon, too late. Now they're slugfesting each other again. I'm gonna tell them it's MUGEN, so I figure I might as well do something to show you guys how to get that set up, because MUGEN's kind of just a thing I don't think a lot of people know about. They had such a dedicated community, but I don't think it's like a big thing. But anyways, let's get started. So first thing you want to do is grab yourself a version of MUGEN. I don't actually remember what my version was, because I went to a different site than this one, AK1 MUGEN Community. That's where I get a lot of my characters. All the fighters you see in the Deltarune Royale Rumble series are actually gotten from AK1 MUGEN Community. And before you ask what about characters on other sites that you didn't get to yet, I got it, don't worry. So we'll just start with this one right here, since it's up at the top and it's pinned for a reason. Electbite rip. I actually don't know if Electbite actually died or just disappeared, but Electbite was the one who started MUGEN. What MUGEN is basically a engine you can download and you can make your own custom fighting games with it, TLDR. And there's different versions too, like ZNA MUGEN, IKMN, I think is one a lot of people use as well. But we're just going to start with this one. So click this. And we're going to download. And we're going to go to my messy ass crap downloads folder. We're going to hold Control and push X to cut. Now, I already got a tutorial MUGEN set up here. I'm going to paste that here. And then you would right click, extract all, extract. Some files you download for MUGEN may also be a .rar. Now, if you are on Windows 11, Windows 11 natively supports RAR files. If not, you want to go download something called 7-zip if you're on Windows or Linux. I'm pretty sure there's one for Mac too. I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, so come in here and you can see they do a folder in a folder. They do that a lot. If you get folder in a folder, what you can do is, again, CTRL-X, back up, CTRL-V, and then that scoots everything that's in the folder there. So we've got our MUGEN. I'm going to go ahead and just delete that, since the contents here are the same as the contents in this file here. I did some tooling around earlier too to set my controls the way I like them. If you want to do that, you just come down to input config and then key config. And I like to use WASD, which defaults as player 2's controls. So you can just use F1, put in your keys, and then peace out. That should figuratively support gamepads. It's a little iffy with what gamepads it supports, so it might be something you need to noodle around and fool with. I don't use a gamepad for the Royal Rumble. I use my keyboard because I'm just watching characters fight each other. So I don't have to worry about that as much. And if you want to save, just make sure you save your options, so it'll say that way next time. And you got a few different things: arcade versus team arcade, team versus, all that good stuff. You might notice that this looks a little different than the ones in my videos, and we'll get to that. That's something called a screen pack. So we start off with just 2 characters. It's free to download, Kung Fu Man and kind of like his more different version. And you can see the game looks a lot different than how it looks, again, because I'm using a different screen pack. I don't actually know how to use Kung Fu Man, but, it's just your starter guy you play around with, right? They never made the Suave Man, though. All right, so let's go ahead and close out of that. You can just push escape, push escape, push escape, bada bing. So, the question of characters. Where to find characters? Well, you can find them here, there, and really everywhere. There are sites you can go to, such as AK1 MUGEN Community. There's also the MUGEN Archive. You do need to make an account. It's free to make an account, but they do limit how many downloads you can do, and only by, I think it's like donating or something like that, do you unlock like the bigger unlock tiers. A lot of people don't like the website for that reason, because it feels like it's locking other people's free work, because a lot of people make these characters for free, mind you, behind what's seen as a paywall. And then there's other ways to get things too. Like, I found this site that's got some links to different Altered Beast characters literally by going and searching Altered Beast MUGEN. That's actually one way you can try to see if characters have been made for like your game or thing. Just type in Altered Beast MUGEN or Deltarune MUGEN or Wow, here you go. I just typed in Poppy's Playtime Mugen, and we got Catnap. I've never played or watched any videos on this, but if you're a fan of Poppy's Playtime, knock yourself out. So if we're on AK1 Mugen community, for example, how do we find characters if you're on a site like this? Let's go to downloads. And then that little sidebar likes to pop up on the bottom, so you can just scroll down. Ooh, scrolled way too far down. And we're going to go characters. Now, if you're interested in those Deltarune, Undertale, whatever characters, you're going to come down to a lot of websites, like, for example, Mugen Archive is organized like this. They'll have it by like different types. So you can come down here to video game. And then, let me see here. See, like there's FNAF. Nintendo, Undertale, here you go. And sometimes they'll have a subpage, so specifically for, oh hey, it's that Toriel. Also, this isn't that Toriel. I found out that there's a naughty version of this Toriel. I don't know if this website has it because I haven't signed up for an account to access their 18+ content. But we're going to download it anyways. Okay, yeah, this is the one that I have. Because I remember that Toriel G. I don't know what that Toriel XI is. Is that themed after, like... I'll have to check that out. Anyways, we got our Toriel downloading. I did spy earlier when I was reviewing stuff for this video because, you know, I totally script these and I'm not doing this completely off the cuff without... You know. But I did see a knight. There was a knight I spotted on AK1 on a Mugen Archive, and he was kind of eh. So let's see if this knight is also eh. So we'll get them downloading. So we're gonna grab these two. Use Control to highlight multiple, Control X to cut, and we're gonna go to our characters folder, and we're gonna Control V them in there, and we're gonna extract both of these guys here. Now that we've got those extracted, let's make sure that the contents check out all right. First of all, sometimes you'll see folder in a folder. So, let's see, there's a reason why I told you about folder in a folder. We're going to back up like that. And just, so that's going into the folder, clicking it, Control X, backing out, Control V. Because what Windows will do is try to paste it in this folder, then see, oh, hey, these two folders are the same names, it just merges them together. So you don't have to like go in there and click all these and do all that stuff. So, this is, I mean, all of these are important to your character, but the DEF is what we want to pay attention to first. So the def is kind of like the main hub file, I guess you could say, for the character. All these other things have to do with different aspects, like CMD, I think, has to do with like their commands or special moves or something like that. Anyways, I don't know much about programming characters. I just know how to make the things go. So we're going to double click this. I have this set up to work with Microsoft Visual, whatever this Visual Code or whatever this is. I know my program so well, I know. You can also open it up with Notepad if you want to. So all we need to do is really just make sure that this here, the knight, matches the name of the folder. Because I've seen things like this, where it's like the space knight, and Mugen will not be able to find this character if there's a space. So the def file needs to match the folder name. I actually, all of these need to match up. So if you have the knight def, but then you have the knight space, like the knight 1.air, it's you're not gonna have a good time. Now the reason why I popped this up is you can see the name, display name, version date, all this good stuff, and the author. Display name, you can change this to actually change and see what the name of the character is in game. So, like, you know, like for, in my Deltarune Royale Rumble, right, I have Susie Blackcurl and Susie Tussie marks. So if we copy this, somebody 134, and we go to the knight, parentheses, somebody 134, and then we Control S to save, now when we see the knight in Mugen, it'll be the knight, somebody 134. I like to do that just to keep track of versions of characters, because some characters you'll have like 3 or 4, 5, 6, even 7 different versions, if you really want to go to town like that. Let's go back to our Toriel G, and again, just make sure that this def matches the file. Oh, you can see that the Toriel G matches the folder name, so we're good. All right, so we need to add them to the game formally. We got them in the characters folder, which is great, but now we need to go to data, and we need to go to select.def. Get familiar with this folder, this file. You're going to really need to get familiar with it. And then it basically just tells you how to do basically what I'm about to tell you and what I've told you so far. Where is the... here we go. So here you can insert your characters below. Some of them will be organized differently too. It just depends on, if you're like using a screen pack, how they did their select def. So we're just going to come down here. Let's go back to our characters. And we have the knight. So we're just going to go the knight. And then we're going to go Toriel G. And make sure you spell these exactly and do them exactly as they are here. Because again, Mugen won't find it if it's not done. This stages slash whatever.def, that is if you want to set that character to a specific stage. So like if you encounter them, like say in arcade mode, then they're going to be on that stage specifically. If not, then it's just going to be a random stage. You have extra stages, which is available in versus and watch mode, and then there is, I think that's it. Yeah, I add my stages down here. We'll get the stages later. So we've made those changes. Let's Control S. And now we're going to go back out of data. We're going to open up Mugen. And if we go to arcade, we can see that we have the knight and we have Toriel added. Yeah, people don't always get the graphics the same. Mugen's going to be a very mixed bag, as you'll see. Like for the Royal Rumble, there were characters I tried to add that I actually got rid of for one or more reasons. There's like a Noel that couldn't even... Okay, so I know Clyde is kind of like a meme character because he's everybody's punching bag in a tournament. If Clyde fought Clyde, they would both lose somehow. I feel like, but Clyde at least hits people on occasion. This Noel just got walked all over. They couldn't even hit people. And then I had a K round, and it would just like go through the bottom of the stage, and so it was too glitchy. So I had to DQ it. That was like an early version, draft version, I guess you could say, that I didn't upload. So we're just gonna pick this character, or see how it turns out. Okay, yeah, see, it's got its night thing. Do I move it? How about? This is also another thing you'll see with Mugen, is people making very broken characters. Like, how do I? I'm pushing buttons and nothing is happening. So we're just gonna escape to back out. Let's pick Toriel. Why does Toriel have Kung Fu Man's intro? Why is it being AI? Why? Oh, whatever. So you run into like weird problems here. Like, even though I could have sworn I put myself as player one, but whatever. We got our characters installed. If you want to do the thing where you watch the AI fight each other, that's watch mode. You can set like what style you want, and then you could do like this, and then you just watch them beat each other up. Alright, so we've got characters added. Now, how do we add stages? Well, that's what the stages folder is for. And it's basically the same way as it is for downloading characters. So what you're going to do, like for example, in AK1 Mugen Community, we're going to go back to downloads. We're going to go to stages. And then it's kind of organized the same way. Video games, Undertale stages. And then this one doesn't have a Deltarune subpage, so you're just going to have to use your own discretion. Like you see, here's the Deltarune Chapter 3 stage. As seen in the Deltarune Royale Rumble. So we're going to download. This will also be good too, because this does come with its own music file. So I'll be able to show you guys how to set up that as well. So we're going to go to our downloads, and we're going to cut that. Now we're going to go to stages. We're going to drop this in here. Now, as you can see, you don't need folders in here. So we're just going to right click. We're going to go more options. We're going to go, I have 7-zip. So I'm just going to go extract here, which tells it to just take those contents and spill them out here. There's a 1.1. Well, okay, that's unexpected. we'll just take this and throw that in there. There we go. So, the chapter 3, the def is kind of the same thing. Second verse, same as the first. It's an important file. You can set things like a lot of stuff up like camera and all that stuff. We're not going to do any of that. But what you do want to pay attention to, if you come down here where it says music, this is where you set what the music file is going to be that this stage will use. So like, let's say you have a really cool remix of Deltarune Chapter 3, or like you want to use, because this is a remix music file, if it's the same one that I have, then maybe you want to use the actual music from the game proper. You can change that here. So we're going to, it's going to look for this file. So you either would need to replace this, like just name it the same thing, or just make sure you change this to whatever the file name is. Right, so let's go ahead and close that out. We're going to take this sound file, and the reason why it says, of course, sound / is it has to go in the sound folder. There you go. Now, of course, again, second verse, same as the first, we got to go to our select def. Then we got to add it to our stages. So like with Tutorial G, for example, we can go, comma, stages / chapter. Oh, I forgot what it was called. All right, Deltarune Chapter 3. So a little thing I like to do when I do stages, if I just, or even characters, and I want to make sure I get it right, is I can go right click, rename, hold Control, push C to copy the name, or actually A and then C, because we need that .def. And then we can just go like this. Badam. And then if you want to add extra stages down here, you can just do the same thing. Stages / bam. Save. And let's go back to Mugen. Alright, here we go. Tutorial Mugen. Then you go to Arcade. Or let's go to Watch. So you can see, we can verify if it's been installed properly or not. We'll just put up against that, and then you can see down there, Mountainside Temple, Deltarune Chapter 3, bing. Yeah, pretty cool, eh? So now you've got the Chapter 3 installed. Or at least the background done. I don't know how to make backgrounds. I kind of want to learn how to do it, just in case there's like backgrounds I want to make from like games that don't have Mugen characters but are on my channel. Alright, we'll go ahead and close out of that. Now, how do you install things like screen packs? Well, that's going to require a few more steps. This is mainly just to kind of get you off the ground with just how to find characters, how to download them and get them going, and whatnot. I don't know why that tutorial wasn't letting me control them. I don't know if there's like an AI thing I have to do, because when I used Kung Fu Man I was able to. So it's, again, like with a lot of things that you see on this channel, part of it is following guidelines that people set or tutorials people make, and other part of it is just tooling around with it until you get it to work. So there you go. And of course, I will link everything in the description down below. For AK1 Mugen, I'll put the link to straight to the Undertale stages and straight to the Undertale characters, so you guys can get that, and also just straight to the Mugen download, so you guys can just get that stuff going. And if you run into trouble, you can ask me. I've had actually success with using AIs like Perplexity to help me with tooling stuff around from Mugen as well. May or may not work because it's pulling just information from online. And of course, there's Mugen communities that you can find as well that can help you out. But that's all I got for you today. So thank you so much for watching, fellow Radiant Stars and fighting game fans. And remember, no matter what anyone says, you are a beautiful star. Take care, and until next time.